Hi, Ollie from Till the Wheels here. In the summer of 2021, we recorded an incredible performance and interview with our good buddy CHAS, Palmer Williams from Lightyear. Here it is, enjoy.
This song's called Absolutely Some Regrets, and yeah, it's about a payphone, or being lonely, or both. And this is a day in my life, and I'm a payphone. Everything whizzes on me, and everyone wishes to see a red payphone, but I'm not. And the only calls I get are PPI, and the only one to talk to me is that homeless guy. And at 8:45 you walk by, and at 8:45 you walk by, but I don't have the balls to ring. I don't have the balls to ring. If there's crack in the basement, crack at stand adjacent. If I called our ward at root these concrete socks and we go dancing, we could sit on a star and laugh until the end of time. And laugh until the end of time. But I hate these people that dress like one. I hate these people that dress like one. I hate these people that dress like one. 8, so hold your receiver in the air, spit out the wrong change and shout, I'm a payphone. Hold your receiver in the air, spit out the wrong change and shout, I'm a payphone. And someone has damaged my insides. You jammed in a screwdriver, now my LCD is fried. And when I get older, a guy will wipe the food from my handset, some regrets. Absolutely some regrets. And confidence concocted by fibre optics. Under all this advertising I am hiding, and made the magnets inside my head by Alexander Bell, they made me listen to you instead. I should have listened to you instead. But I hate these people that dress like one. I hate these people that dress like one. I hate these people that dress like one. 8, so hold your receiver in the air, spit out the wrong change and shout, I'm a payphone. Hold your receiver in the air, spit out the wrong change and shout, I'm a payphone. Go and find that other phone box, it's got a Banksy on it. Go and find that other phone box, someone's made a small library out of it. Go and find that other phone box, it's got the internet in it. Go and find that other phone box, it's not got a small human poo in it. But I hate these people that dress like 118. I hate these people that dress like 118. It's not too late, so hold your receiver in the air, spit out the wrong change and shout, I'm a payphone. Hold your receiver in the air, spit out the wrong change and shout, I'm a payphone. And hold your receiver in the air, and hold your receiver in the air. And hold your receiver in the air. Thanks.
Hi, Chaz.
All right, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks for coming down today.
No worries, yeah.
How have you been?
Good, yeah. it's been crazy.
Yeah.
Like being in lockdown in Cornwall, but it's been great. But I've not been to a city. It's weird now. You know?
Yeah. How are you finding your first big trip to the city?
It's weird because I felt a bit old, like I was lost on the tube, you know, and kind of wobbling around and trying to download apps, and it was a culture shock. It was weird, yeah.
I've been living in London for 11 years and I still use an app to get around.
Okay, cool. That makes me feel better.
Not everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live 10 minutes down the road, so that's fine. But yeah, so we're coming out of lockdown now. How have you used that time? What have you been doing in that time?
So I it was a bit weird, to be honest. Like I finished a contract with a company who were really not supporting my mental health at home, and they were putting like loads of pressure on and KPIs and all these like things I had to do, and I just thought, fuck this, I'm not doing it, you know what I mean? And then I'd had a idea about developing an app and a way to help independent bands sell merchandise, and that's what I've been doing, developing an app and making it feasible for bands to be able to sell merch before the show, after the show. Don't take any merchandise on tour, never run out of stock, never run out of sizes, loads of colours, limited edition runs, all those things. So we developed that app. It's taken me and my business partners like a year to do that, and it's also better for the environment. So it's been a year of solid work doing it, and today's the beta testing, and yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and writing some songs, and also starting a band. If it works and if they sort it out a bit, so Big D and the Kids Table. So
okay.
Yeah.
And you've been doing the rock school thing.
Yeah,
with
I've
those
been
guys.
teaching as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
So Sean from Big D has a rock school in the States, and he called me up and he's like, dude, just teach. You know, teach some music and lyrics and songwriting, and that's what I did, and I'm really grateful for that, because you know how it was. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing now. You know, that was a big part of my identity taken away. Like playing live music and being part of the community and scene and stuff was suddenly gone, and I'm sure you know you can relate to that. And it's like, oh my God, we you know, I've got nowhere to go now. You know, I've got no music, I've got nowhere to just go and do what I want to do. You know what I mean? And that I've always done since I was like 16. So that helped me with a bit of direction and teaching. So I'm still teaching, limited edition of kids and you know students and stuff like that. But it's really cool, yeah.
Okay, wicked. Well, let's go right back and declare our interests. I met you at the Regis Rooms in Kings Lynn in 2001.
Oh, wow.
At an AIDS benefit show.
Okay.
With Revelation. I think Call of the Weasel Clan was either just coming out or had just come out. I picked up the Kid Dynamite EP that night. So that's literally 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
I've been listening to you talk about old things that I kind of remember, and it was making me miss stuff, but not only through COVID, because, you know, 20 years is a long time, the world's moving very fast, things are changing all the time. What is it that you are finding now, that ideas and ways to work on things, what is it that's driving you to do that, and how have things changed over the last 20 years that's kind of making you think about things differently? And
well, I'd say like straight away my kids, you know, like having two boys who are amazing but crazy, like that's your focus. But then again, it's quite difficult when you are, you know, I guess a musician or whatever, and part of a scene where you so involved, and you haven't got the time to really to do that, you know, anymore. But I mean, for me, it's weird. Like I guess I always had that thing where I wanted to do something, you know. So I've said it before, but like punk and skateboarding pretty much saved my life, you know, and that's a cliche, but it's true. And I came out of a really bad situation when I was young, where, you know, it felt like the whole world was against me, into a community of music and skating and everything. And I was like, wow, so, you know, these people are great. And those people were actually all fucking horrible, you know? So at that point, I think that was like, oh, I can do these things, you know, I can do these projects, I can get inspired, I can go and hire out a rental van under somebody else's license when I was 16 and go on tour, you know, by just cold calling people, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, I can do this. And with each step of that kind of chain, that built my confidence, you know? Like, probably how I met you is probably someone put us on and, you know, and I went through this in my head that I was like, who do I know through music and skating, you know? Like, I put something on Facebook and then it was like, them, you know, it was everyone. 99% of people I know is through music and the scene and everything. And I think, yeah, it gives you that confidence, you know, like doing your first show and then like, oh, that was amazing, oh my God. And then going to Peterborough and getting picked up and passed around the room. And you're like, we're in the van on the way home going like, oh my God, you know, like they fucking picked us up. Like, you know, like I was inspecting the asbestos, you know, like yeah. and you know, those little steps of confidence, you know, push you and then give you that sort of, yeah, that confidence to think I can try anything and keep going. So that and what's it called? High functioning attention deficit disorder. Yeah. Okay. Combine those two.
Yeah. How's it been the last year since your diagnosis? How do you feel better about things because you just kind of know what's going on more, or is it what?
Yeah, I think so. I think the idea was so I know that how it's going to affect my sons and their education, you know, because the education system completely let me down, you know, and what medication I can get and how that can affect me and help me and give me focus and stuff like that, but also how I can use, you know, I genuinely think that people who are sort of neurodiverse are fucking superheroes, you know, they're like the X-Men and all those dudes, and like, yeah, you know, might not be able to do something really simple. I haven't got plectrum, do you know what I mean? But then also, oh, there's this app we could do, you know, let's fucking do that. And be it like, you know, bipolar, or be it like ADHD or dyslexia or, you know, autistic or, you know, all these things, they may not be able to do certain things, but fucking hell, they see the world completely differently, you know? If I had a massive company or something like that and I was employing people, I would literally go, please tell us if you are, because we can put you in a place where you're gonna fucking thrive and be amazing for this company. Do you know what I mean? And I know it's not all about that, but employment is a huge issue, I think, for people who are neurodivergent, you know?
I think as our country becomes more and more sort of hyper-capitalist, I'm a support worker for people with learning disabilities, so I have to kind of help people negotiate around different things, and what I tend to find is that unless there's money involved, it's very difficult to get a hold of any resources. I'm quite lucky recently, Andy at the Amersham down the road is letting me use the big room for 2 hours every Tuesday. There's like a support group for people with learning disabilities. Okay. For the COVID stuff. It's.
But you find as well people.
But
like a lot of people who are like that are the ones helping others. You know, and you just kind of like, you know, I've seen it. I've seen like, you know, I've been in like meetings with people who you know, try and come up with a solution and they can't fucking do it. You know, and they go back to and all this and you're just like thinking, this is the solution, you know, and not being arrogant, but it's like, I had it in 15 seconds, dude. You know, yes, I might have not turned up on time, you know, but I think it needs to be looked completely different on, you know, two levels, like even in a capitalistic way, because people aren't going to do anything unless it is beneficial financially to them, you know, whatever people think, like, you know, all the companies changing to be like environmentally, you know, correct or whatever, and you know, it benefits them. Like it's not, they're not doing it to be nice.
Yeah, it's part of marketing.
Yeah, and which is fine because it's a positive thing. But so yeah, I think along the lines, I'd like to sort of do something along that, you know, to try and maybe like an agency for neurodiverse people and companies, and try and get them in the right positions, and then support them as an agency and a business, and you know, support the business to make them, you know, thrive. Basically. Yeah,
totally. Do you think that's that kind of thinking do you think that's something that you discovered in the punk scene? Or is this something would you say that the punk scene's affected you in a way to think like that in a way that you might not have otherwise?
Yeah, I think so, because I just think the punk scene lets you do what you want to do, you know, and it's just a positive factor. Like, you know, it sounds really simple, but if you've got a place to go where you can go on the stage and, you know, okay, get naked or do whatever, and you're not going to get thrown out by a huge doorman, you know, and whatever, or, you know, it's that whole thing of like the band of the audience and the audience of the band. Yeah. There's no barrier there, you know, like there might be a physical barrier, you know, but and that's sort of it's a crucible for being safe, and it's a crucible, you know, you walk away and the next day you're like, oh my God, you know, and I think that whole time, was really like when I was 18 sort of thing, and I had that to grow with. I don't know how I would think and the way my brain would think. I think it'd be much more negative, you know, I definitely think so. Like, I think that if I didn't have that scene, and again, skating, then I would have gone a much more negative route, and the sort of hyper focus that I do have on things due to that ADHD and stuff wouldn't be there, you know, or would be there in a much more negative way. Yeah. So, you know, and there's been battles along the way and stuff, but yeah, you know, I definitely think it's been the most formative part of my personality and character. Yeah. Over even my parents, you know, and stuff. So, yeah. You
mentioned earlier about going to Peterborough and getting passed around. That
sounds a bit... Yeah. That was after the gig.
Yeah, after the gig, yeah. Back to Geordie's and...
Passing around.
Yeah. That kind of... So you grew up in Derby, or you were in America for a while? And
So, yeah, my dad's originally from Boston in America. Then he moved to California. Then he met my mum. He was a tour manager for a band called Arthur Lee and Love. Okay. And then he met my mum on tour. They got married, went over to America. They broke up. We came back to Liverpool. Then we went to Derby. Then I moved to Brighton for 10 years. Then back to Derby, and then Falmouth. Yeah. Okay. But Derby was the formative, you know, where we grew up in the punk scene, and having the Victoria Inn as our, you know, school or whatever that was the place. Like.
Do you feel like the UK still has that kind of network? Because like back then it was like every town had like 3 or 4 bands. You could have a full lineup most weekends, and you get touring acts and stuff. And like the UK tours used to be, people used to really like kick the shit out of the UK. Like you look at flyers, it's like 3 weeks of the UK and stuff. Do you feel like that kind of network of like the small towns, and or you get like a place like Peterborough where everyone would come from, I don't know, Outwell and I don't know, Dogthorpe or whatever, you know? Do you think that's still there, or do you think something's changed?
I don't know. I don't think I'm involved enough, like right now, to be able to say it's not, because I'm not touring all the time. You know, I don't play that much really. But I do know that when it was there, it was exactly like that. And you had these towns or cities, small cities, and they were the same all the way through the UK. You know, there were these cities where the satellite towns or villages, nothing happened. You know. And then you would come into this, and this would happen. You know, that's where the gig was going, and you know you would go there, and it would be an amazing time. You know, like, and there'd be no hassle, there'd be no fights, not really, and you know, it would just be kids putting on a gig for a band they love. Yeah. You know, that's and it was the same bit Peterborough, Bridgend, you know, up in Scotland. It was always the same. It was these towns, and I don't know what it was about that time, but I think it was just a magical thing where everything came together, and there was these sort of pockets of resistance, and some of it was shit, you know, some of it was bad, but in general, and you know, with Household Name and or you know, all the other little record labels all coming together, and that, you know, and everybody had the same sort of consensus, and I always say that, like, I think if they didn't, they would be rooted out quite quickly, you know. Yeah. So if someone said something like casually racist or homophobic or something, most of the bands would go, "Did you hear what that dude said?" Yeah. You know, like, we don't really want to talk about those guys, you know, like, and And I think rightly so they would get labelled, you know, like that. And some people thought it was a bit elitist and stuff. And that was cool. Like, I just knew that we'd go on tour, we'd be with the coolest bands, you know. And I think that, it was a great time. And I don't know why that all came together. Probably the hard work of everyone, but you know, it was strange that it all happened at the same time, you know.
I think there was a perfect storm of the kind of the pop culture, the sort of mid-90s pop culture.
Yeah.
The fact that CDs, you can still sell a CD for £10.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
That gets people around,
Yeah.
you know.
But no internet.
No internet.
You know? So I think that's the thing as well. Like, word of mouth. You know, it's the folk kind of law thing, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what did you do last night? Oh, we went down the local pub, you know, so-and-so played, and fucking hell, like, the lead singer was, like, in the roof. You know, what? Yeah. He's in the roof? You know? He may have had his foot in the roof, but in your head, he's in the fucking roof, upside down, you know what I mean? And if you look at it on YouTube, it's like, oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
It's happened, I've seen it, yeah.
And that's the thing with the app as well, it's like, that's why we didn't want to just sell whatever. It's like, you were either there or you weren't.
Yeah.
So this merch is available at the show, and then it closes, you know? And people are like, well, you should sell it all the time. It's like, no, it's for the bands, it's for their merch, you know, like, they sell it at the show, and that's it. And if you're not supporting live music, you don't get this stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And there's definitely an element of that you're either there or you weren't there.
Do you think that's something that's maybe resurging, is that kind of exclusivity, like in a world where like the internet's ubiquitous and we can just like pick and choose whatever we want all the time? There's evidence of digital platforms going towards more that kind of specialist thing. The platform that this is on the floor is it's like a subscription model.
Yeah, okay.
So if you want to see it, you have to be invested in it. It's not just something that's out there.
Yeah.
Do you think do you predict that's going to be something that comes back? Are people appreciating the kind of the specialness of experiencing something?
I think there's two things really, because like there's definitely an element of that. I'm going to contradict myself a bit, because also like if you're fucking good as a band or an artist, people are going to come and see you play. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that just happens. But also like I think it's what went wrong in my view in our scene was that we didn't really support new bands and younger people getting into the scene. Like it was like these bands at this age. And that's what went wrong with really like, you know, that the other punk scene, like the street punk scene or whatever. You know, because there's kind of the punk scene, and it all gets so confused. And there's them, you know, the gutter punks and the Mohawks, and then there's like, you know, East Coast sort of punk thing. And I always think like that's two genres. I don't think it really has too much to do with each other personally.
Yeah.
But that's what happened in that scene. I think that yes, there's younger people still into that scene, but how many young bands are there? You know, there's a lot of the older bands like Stiff Little Fingers, and which are fucking great, but you need to be supporting, you know, the younger bands, putting them on first, getting them the experience, you know, getting them a fucking guitar if they can't, you know, have a fund where you can pay, you know, for like Squire Fenders and just give them out, you know, free rehearsal time and stuff like that, you know, less free lessons and put it back into the scene and in the youth, and then
Do you think 10 years of austerity has got something to do with that kind of struggle? In terms of, I mean, I know in my town there used to be a guitar shop, there used to be a youth club, and none of that exists anymore.
No, because I think that like, if anything, that tends to breed anger and more of a reason to do music. You know, like the best music always comes out of struggle. You know, I think, and the time, and I think that like. There's always a way, you know? There's always a way. Like, I just think it's like our responsibility to you know, keep that part of the scene going. And I don't think anyone's doing anything about it, you know, including myself.
Do you feel like there's a glass ceiling in the punk scene where you do your band and you still go in 10 years, 20 years, and you're headlining X, Y, and Z, but then there's more bands, and then at some point there just isn't space on the bill? Do you feel like there's an element of that?
Yeah, but then there should be.
There should be, yeah.
Because that's just standard music industry bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, where like, you know, back in the day when Reading Festival were playing, they were like at the lock-up stage or whatever, and there'd be 10 US bands, and there'd be one UK band that'd been touring their arse off all year, and they would be on first.
Yeah.
And then there'd be a band second from top, third from top, no one ever heard of, the same agent, same record label or whatever, and they get there. And that's just normal music industry stuff. You know? And I remember like seeing certain bands and there'd be the security thing on the side, you know, and it would be like in colours. So for the UK band from the punk scene, it'd be red,
right,
and all the security would be there, you know, at the start of the day, and then it'd be like green, right, orange, yellow, red. You know what I mean? But it'd be red at the start.
Yeah.
So it's like that just proves it, you know, like. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. Yeah.
Yeah. What about the practicalities of touring nowadays? Do you feel, I mean, one thing that's been on my mind a little bit was how ticket prices for gigs have kind of stayed the same for my whole time in this thing, you know?
Yeah, I'm just being, I don't want to be negative, but I mean, like I said, the whole scene and the whole punk scene fucking sorted me out for my whole life, you know?
Yeah.
But also, like, keeping it true and everything is completely, like, shit for the bands, you know? Like, it's like, you know, like, T-shirts are like, you know, £8. They shouldn't be £8.
Yeah.
You know, we should be supporting them, buying those T-shirts for £20, you know?
Yeah.
Or, you know, support band, first band on, £50. It shouldn't be £50. You know, like, fuel money's gone up. Food money's gone up, car insurance, blah, blah, blah. It shouldn't be £50, you know, it should be, you know, way more than that. Otherwise, I don't know. You know, we need to look at that, how we can support those bands. That's another thing. It's impossible. It's impossible for, like, new bands to kind of do that. Like, you got to rent the van out. I mean, if you could get to the point where you could afford a rental van, fuel each way, that's it. That's all they need.
Yeah.
You know? Like, they can sort food out, we can cook for them, you know. But if we could just get it to that point, but then you start going into, yes, it's the DIY scene, but then we are working with a proper agent who is, you know, we're meeting guarantees at the headline band, and they're going to draw them in, and they're sort of semi-professional. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you've got a bigger band and you're having to pay them and you're in a contract, even though you're a DIY promoter. So what is that? Is that DIY or is that not DIY? So, and then the support band is probably going to get £50 or if they're lucky. So it's kind of like, if the headline bands are making that much and they can pay the bills and all that, kick the first band down the money. That's what you should do. Yeah. Even if you're whatever. I mean, because the punk scene and the ethics and that go through all different types of music. You know, we're not exclusive. You know, like and I'm sure everybody knows that. But there is a responsibility there to kind of go, actually, our fee is too much, or we have enough for what we need. Let's give that to the opening bands. And I know that's not always possible, but a lot of the time it is. Yeah.
That's I think it's a case of valuing and expressing that value and investing, isn't it? It is an investment. If you can make it, if you've got a good young band that makes it work, even from a kind of capitalist point of view, if you're still working with that band when they're bringing 200 people or they're bringing 400 people or something, then you've put that in there, and it does work. Well, it can work. Yeah,
and I just think the whole capitalist thing, it's like, as a you know, if you're talking about the DIY scene and the way it's run and stuff, we have to run it better than somebody who's in it for capitalist gains. You know, as simple as that. Like, if you go to squats in Europe around, you know, whenever 10 years ago or something, they would be running that show way better than somebody who's making a lot of money out of it. Yeah. And so therefore people and agents would go, right, we're gonna, you know, go with these guys. They're fucking great. And I'm not like criticizing anyone, but that's the simple fact, is that you've got to do it better than somebody who's doing it to pay the bills. Like,
Yeah, so I want to talk about Lightyear for a bit, because it's like one of my favourite bands ever. I was thinking earlier this morning, about the time I saw you at the garage and you'd all got triple spray tans and just for mend your beards and stuff. So it was like,
a bit weird looking.
Some weird, like, Mediterranean face.
Well, Ben's partner worked in a beauty salon.
Right.
And we pulled up in front of it to meet up, and then she was actually there. So we were like, let's go and get like multiple spray tans to see how many we could get in a row.
Yeah.
And that's why that happened. But yeah, it was funny seeing, because it was in like a really nice resort, like a spa resort. And there was just like Neil, little bald dude, like, you know, walking around like with like 8 spray tans on, like, and you know, like, yeah, dyed eyebrows, and it was just really silly. Like,
I just thought you wanted to look nice for your big gig. And
No vanity. No,
it was just like, guys, it's the bigger one.
Yeah,
but,
it was like, he was like, "I'll go and have one." Like, no one's ever had one. And like, okay, then do it again. Do it again. And then it didn't come off for ages. So
that was the other thing. I could just imagine you just sort of like pottering around the house or going to work.
Yeah,
with
that's
like
how it was.
8 spray tans.
Yeah, for free, you know. So.
But yeah, I mean, that stuff was wild. I remember being at Leeds Festival and seeing the pantomime horse with Ice Cube and stuff.
Ice-T, yeah.
Ice-T, yeah. Sorry, Ice Cube.
Yeah, don't.
Sorry,
Ice-T.
Ice-T.
You're going to start some beef.
So... just tell us a bit about that, like, because that was clearly something that came out of a group of people that really liked each other, thought each other were really funny, and I just want to get a sense of those kinds of relationships, I suppose.
Yeah, so I think there's probably something in the water in Derby for a start, but I can remember when I first got naked at a party, and I was just like, I'm going to get naked, you know, and everyone was like, and this was like pre-CHAS, so it wasn't like we were going, oh yeah, they're doing it, which is nothing wrong with that, but we were just like, you know, basically getting naked was like huge. It was like, what the fuck? Yeah. You know, like someone got naked at the party, like, and just ran down the street and back, and that was like this huge thing. And I think it's kind of that skate culture where it's friendly one-upmanship, you know, you kind of like keep going, and it's funny, and you know, before you know it, you know, weeing on your best mate or whatever, but there was also like, it was funny, and we didn't really give a shit, but also there was quite a liberating side to it and stuff. So like, I got bullied really badly as a kid for like multiple things, you know, like full on like horrible, like, you know, racist shit. It's really strange, like, you know, just fucking nasty shit, like everything from like, you're fat, you know, massive nose, like you fucking Jewish scumbag and all this, like by these horrible people, and loads of other shit as well. And so I think coming out of that was the situation that I was in before, and really negative, and you know, they used to like beat me up and burn me and fucking electrocute me, all sorts of fucked up shit at this school I went to. So it was bad, but that's fine, that happened. But I think coming out of it and meeting people in the scene, that in an empowering scene where everybody liked you and you liked everyone else, it was just me going, I don't give a shit. This is who I am. I'm fucking naked on stage, you know, not in an aggressive way at all, not in a rugby way, I'm gonna whatever, but in a real, like, I do not give a shit and this is me. And there was that defiance to it as well. And naked on stage therapy, I think. I was saying to my friend the other day, like, it's everybody's nightmare, isn't it, to be naked on stage in front of like whatever. That's like, oh, I have a dream about it, I'm naked, and actually that was doing the opposite of that, you know. It was like kind of going, and I think like there was elements of that with the other guys as well, and then we were just pretty drunk as well, so and it was just boring on tour, you know, and we were just that sort of group of people. And I think with Lightyear, that's what it was like the complete, you know, bunch of idiots, but also then we would be singing about, you know, really important stuff to us, and coming from the sort of hardcore punk element of that passion and, you know, that drive and believing in things, and but also then the elements of, I guess, like bands like the Weaker Thans, where we were trying to deal with shit as well, being that age, and, you know, like things like that. So I think it was a combination of all those things in one. And it just came out, and that's how we dealt with it every night. And every night was always like, just therapy, really, you know. Like,
the great thing about Lightyear was that, or is, that you had all the madness, but the musicality and the emotion and the the cleverness of the lyrics would always come through and be really, really prominent. Do you think that was that a juxtaposition that you were aiming for, or was that just a happenstance of what was happening?
Well, thanks for the compliment first. Yeah. Cheers. No, like it was like the first song we wrote. I was literally just fucking going into it, going, I need to fucking say this, like I need to deal with the shit that's happened to me, and I'm dealing with it in this song straight away. Like, I'd probably say like song number 2 that we wrote. Song number 1 was really, really bad, and kind of about, I think the dance hall crashes or something,
right,
like just stupid song, and then it was started to go like, oh, I can, this is an outlet for me.
Yeah.
And actually, as opposed to a negative outlet, this is a complete positive outlet, and that's what it became. So it was completely organic, and the way we wrote is like we would get in a room, we would discuss it, we would come up with ideas, we would write it, I would go away, write the words, come back, and that was done. And that's how we were writing like a song, a practice like that.
Yeah.
And then just we do bang, 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 bang like that. And so again, just a group of mates, like we started. 25 years ago, something like that, and in a garage, like I had a beam pole with a headphone on it as a microphone,
right.
Like Jim Bailey had a drum kit. I think there was like a tortoise in there as well, like a real tortoise, like a cage, really bizarre.
Was it okay with the noise?
I don't know, man. I don't even know if it was real. It's one of those things in the back of my head. It's like, there's no fucking tortoise in there.
Yeah.
And I think at the time we probably...
Anyway. So it could have been a statue?
It could have been a statue, yeah. It could have been like the original bass player. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm old now. But it was just like totally organic, and it was just a way of us as an outlet and having loads of fun and dealing with a lot of negativity in a really positive way. And then that's what the whole scene gave me as well through Lightyear. So yeah, and then watching other bands as well at Vic.
Did you... Oh yeah, let's talk about the Vic a bit. Like, so I used to get flyers for that place when I was like really young.
Yeah.
Like, so King's Lynn was probably about 120 miles away or something from Derby, but we used to get flyers for shows there. Was that like total? Was it as I imagined, just like 6 shows all the time?
Yeah. Like it was. So Andy from Concrete Socks was the landlord.
Yeah.
So it definitely helped having somebody who was involved in the punk scene already. And we were getting all the bands we were listening to through the doors, like 2 or 3 times a week. And if it wasn't those, we'd be seeing bands from other genres that were great, So you could go every single night and go and watch a band in the Vic. And if there wasn't something, you'd be like, there's not something on tonight,
Right,
and you'd be really shocked. And you could do anything. You could go in and, like, if I had no money, like Andy just go in, man. Just go in, and like you could do anything in there as long as it wasn't hurting anyone or like whatever or violent, or you could do anything, and everybody respected it pretty much, And there's not enough places like that anymore, and just that place to go. Like when you have youth clubs, it's like that's great and that's really, really important, but then when you are an adult, you need somewhere to go as well. Like we don't really change, and to take those places away, which we've seen obviously with COVID, is like huge. And we all need places to go because we're just big kids, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome, man. Like again, I'm so lucky to have been part of that place.
Let's move on to your solo music. I really love American Smile, British Teeth.
Thank you.
Can you tell us just what's different, about doing it on your own? Because you've had bands as your backing bands and stuff, but like what's different about the process? Was it something that changed in you that made you want to do that, or was it just a natural progression? Was it just more freeing to do it on your own? Or?
Just that, yeah. So the reason I started was like Neil from Lightyear. He came when we broke up the first time. He was like, "Oh yeah, I just went and did a party in Cardiff, with a guitar." I was like, "I fucking want to do that, but I can't play guitar." So I got a guitar and tried to learn chords, and that's what happened. So and then started to think, well, I can write slightly different music than punk. And you know, punk's great for live and energy and stuff. And I just wanted to see what I could do and put lyrics to, and then working with other people like, you know, Pete Fraser and Sam Duckworth and those guys and Jay, and it's really hard to organise Lightyear, you know, like to do anything, and it's not hard to organise yourself with a guitar, you know, and you can still gig and do things like this, and so and still be part of that community, you know, and I wasn't really ready to let go when Lightyear broke up. It might sound a bit sad or whatever, but I still wanted to play.
Yeah.
I still wanted to, you know, go to shows and play and see everybody that I'd made friends with, and that was a way to do that. You know, that was a tool.
I mean, that's the thing, is because if you do that, if you just do, you know, touring and punk stuff, and then your vehicle for that stops, you're going to miss a lot of people.
Yeah, and that was, you know, again, it was my identity, a big part of it, and it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, like you know, I am, I guess, a punk, you know, and I am a skateboarder, and like, yeah, COVID does, and a lot of musicians try to take that identity away from you, like, you know, who's this big part of me, you know, what am I, and actually, that's just what you are, and you have been that for a long time, and that's cool, and so, yeah, I wanted to keep that part of my identity there, and just go out, and you know, that feeling of getting on stage and having a beer and all that stuff is something I missed a lot, and being quite transient, it was hard to kind of get a band, you know, to sort of. But now I have a band who play with me solo, and when we all get together, it's awesome, you know? And like a guy called Tim Fernley from down Brighton way, he was in Dublin, and he was the one who said to me, because I nearly gave up, I nearly stopped music completely. I had a pretty fucked up time, and I was like, do you know what? I'm rubbish. I can't write songs. I can't write music. I can't play. I'm giving up. You know, I was like, I'm, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. And Tim was like, come to Dublin. You know, like your EP's fucking brilliant and all this. So I did, and that totally changed everything. You know, the music scene in Dublin was like just brilliant. And nothing, not the punk scene. You know, just the music scene. And then I met, like, you know, the Brona who sings vocals, and Katie who plays fiddle and vocals, and Tim and all those guys, and then they joined my band, you know, and then they've moved to London, and so it's kind of like, it's just that whole thing. Now there's a band around it as well, so it's just great to carry it on, you know, like I can't stop it really. I know a lot of people kind of drift off from music and going to gigs and stuff, but it's not really an option for me. I don't think it's not good for me, you know. So yeah.
I mean, I just remembered that you were in Cotton Weary as well, and I fucking loved Cotton Weary.
Thanks.
Is there any? There's no chance that's coming back, is there?
So we were doing a band and tried to call it something else recently last year, and some terrible names, and it was essentially Cotton Weary. Right. Okay. With like another vocalist, and Neil, I'll be honest, wrote some fucking great songs. Yeah. Like Neil is a really talented songwriter. And there was one, I was like, dude, we've got to record this before you go away again. Because he lived on Koh Tao in Thailand for like 10 years, like teaching diving. And a bit of an understatement, you know, he did like about 3,000 dives. Sort of thing. And then came over here and then decided he wanted to go and be a dive instructor on like super yachts and things like that. Right. So he's out there learning, he's on the Isle of Man now, or Isle of Wight, trying to learn how to do yachts. So he wrote these songs. And before he went away, I was like, dude, you've got to record these songs. Like, and he's like, yeah, I will. And then just didn't have time. Yeah. And they're good, man. You know, in Cotton Weary, I had input, and as we all did. But to be totally honest, you know, the songwriter there was Neil. Right. And that is his like emotions through those songs was stuff. The majority was him. And dude, he's a talented guy, and I'm a big fan of his songwriting. So I'm determined to get like something out by that band.
Yeah, that'd be wicked. Yeah. I'm gagging to hear that.
I think that thing of like starting a band or, you know, starting music, just fucking do it. Like this mystery of like, oh, you can't start a band. You can totally start a band, you know, like if you can't pick up a bass, one note, you know.
Yeah, so is that kind of where your head's at the moment with this app? Oh yeah, I need to ask you about your film as well. The app and the rock school thing.
Yeah.
Is this where your head's at? You're investing in the next generation, you're putting your strength into that to make your life easier, but also you're going into projects to make things better for everyone. So.
Yeah, I mean, to be totally, you know, honest with the app, like it is a way for me to have a living as well.
Yeah.
But my role, we're talking about roles within the company and stuff, and mine is very much about branding. But that sounds very corporate. But the idea is, to me, is to push those ethics through the company.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no reason why large companies, if it does become a large company, can't be completely ethical. You know, and have these. You know, like, why the fuck aren't they? You know, like it's not difficult. It's just like when it's a harder choice or might cost more to do a certain thing, a certain way, just do that. You know, like, yes, you're not going to make loads of money, but I don't know. I think you have those ingrained ethics, and I do, from the scene, and I think that's really sort of taught people well, and hopefully I can carry that through, you know, to the business. But then also, yes, it's about helping bands. You know, it's a DIY thing. Like, merch is so old-fashioned, and I always think the kind of the punk scene and the DIY scene is always one step ahead in a way. You know, it always feels like they just seem to be doing things better and quicker than everyone else, and I think that's what gave me the idea. And you know, like if you're on tour, do you want, you know, you've got to choose between a sound engineer or a merch person, you know what I mean? Well, you know,
there must be a way to get around it.
And just better for the environment as well. I'm trying to do that. After this, I want to look into some sort of environmental idea and really help the planet in a big way. That's my next thing. Yeah, which sounds really mad, but
no, I mean it sounds totally sensible. The ocean is literally on fire at the moment.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and I think that, like, the only way, I don't think we're gonna, you know, changing people's habits isn't going to happen. You know, people aren't going to change what they do. People are assholes, you know, like.
So you've got to replace what they do with something that's almost similar, or almost the same, but.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. It's about you have to make money.
Yeah.
And get the huge fucking companies on board, because they're not going to change the way they are unless they can make money. So, like, McDonald's are on about using vegan burgers. Now there's a clash for everybody, you know, because you're like, what? Hold on, what? But then 5 years down the line, if McDonald's don't sell meat because it costs too much for them and they're making more money and their shares go up now, that's a lot of meat and a lot of animals that aren't dying because of McDonald's. Yes, McDonald's, huge, you know, corporate, whatever, but one thing at a time. You know what I mean? Like, I
would say the Burger King vegan chicken royale is.
There you go. You go. And it's just like Burger King are doing it.
Yeah.
Burger King
obviously I fucking hate Burger King.
Yeah.
But I tried their vegan chicken royale, and
it's just an advert now, isn't it, for like Burger King? But yeah, I mean, it's your ethics, isn't it? So, well, don't shop at there at all. But also, if enough people do shop there, and you know, it's a big thing. You know, the planet is bigger than corporations and stuff. I think, and we need to make it. It needs to be profitable for them to, because we live in a capitalist world, and you can fight capitalism after you've stopped the world fucking blowing up. But you know, it's priorities and stuff like that. But I really want to try and come up with something, and I might not, but just if I can say to my kids, well, I did this and this helped the environment, and our app, you know, will do that. But I mean something bigger, because I think it's probably down to neurodivergent people to come up with some fucking really clever shit. You know, like anyone like that who come up with anything over the course of the fucking world has not been normal, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you look at, you know, Alan Turing, isn't it? The guy, you know, like he wasn't he autistic as well? And I think, you know, had a lot of fucking bullshit happen to him. But look at him, you know what I mean? Like, he was persecuted his whole life, and look what he did, you know? And that just is for so many people. And I think it will come down to, you know, divergent people to think of a way out of this, because I think that's the only way, personally. I think it's through ingenuity and,
Yeah.
you know, not by a cultural change.
Yeah, I think about it a lot. I think about it a bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I do keep saying to people, well, the ocean's on fire, so you know.
But I mean, yeah, but it's really hard, especially now, to be positive about it. But it's really important for younger people to be positive about it, because they're the ones who are going to fucking sort it out and come up with these ideas. But if they think there's nothing they can do, you know, it's going to be. It's not going to happen.
I did start working on a project. It was vegan chicken, but to put a vegan option in all the little chicken shops.
Okay.
So you'd have like a factory where you're making the stuff.
Yeah.
And then you just sell it to them in the van, like JJ Foods that goes around and supplies all the fries and chicken legs and stuff. Same business model, but vegan version.
Well, there's a lot of like veganism in the sort of hip hop scene now and stuff. You know what I mean? Like in
JME and
and boxing. You know, like a lot of very fit athletes are vegan now, and so I think that, and obviously that's the number one thing people can do, isn't it? Like stop eating meat. For the planet. So, and then the other day I saw Sainsbury's had a fucking advert saying that, you know? Like, and this is awesome. This is great because this is hope. You know, this is going. We can do something about it, even if it probably won't be enough. But it's at least, you know, you're either going to go that way or that way, aren't you?
In the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about all that.
Did you get kicked off the Jackass tour?
That segue. Yeah, we did. Yeah. So tell you about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ian Armstrong, our agent at the time, good old Ian, he gave us a phone call and he's like, dude, do you want to go on tour with Jackass? Yeah. And we were like, hell yeah, you know? And like Ian was like, you guys are going to be perfect for this, you know? Like, so we got on the tour and we said hello to the guys and everything. Oh, hi, you know. Went out on stage and basically it was like playing in front of 500 pissed rugby fans. Well, no, that's not fair to rugby really. Like pissed up arseholes throwing pound coins at us, you know, bottles of piss.
How many pound coins?
Well, this is the thing. Yeah. So we collected the pound coins and that was our lunch money because we were really skint at the time. But we did come off stage like bleeding and that was a shock, you know, we're like, holy shit, like that was tough. But then the next time we were sort of ready for it, like sort of psychologically, we were like, let's just play. And then the third time we got like super soakers and we weed in them and put beer in them. And we got flour bombs and eggs and, you know, so we were like, so what I did was I kind of went out and went, right, we know what you're going to fucking do. Just get rid of it. Do it now. And there was just like all the piss came over and all the, you know, the pound coins and we like collecting them, you know what I mean? Like, and they all run out of ammo, you know? So we're like, right. And then we just caned them all, you know, like we like piss and like the first like, probably like 10 rows were just like white with powder, eggs, you know, like, and like, I remember Ryan Dunn was filming us going like, yeah, like this, I'd like to see that footage because it was just madness, you know, it was just fucking madness. And so we came off stage covered in flour, eggs, but it was really weird because like, I remember like, you know, like images in your memory and I remember turning around and seeing Mark, our trumpet player, just like this, like that, completely powdered like that. And then just like this big blood stain coming down his face, you know, and it was so bright and he was just like, that was crazy. And I was just like, yeah, that was pretty mad. And we were buzzing because we were like fucking, you know, gave us, and they loved it. You know, all the people were like, yeah, like, and we thought, oh, cool. You know, we were like, we held our own and Jackass's tour manager came in and he's like, and we were like, yeah, that was good. He's like, you better fucking get back out on that stage, you know. And we were like, what, like an encore, you know? And he's like, no, the fucking, what did he say? The eggs and the flour and the beer are making a cake over the monitor and it's all congealing. Clean the fucking stage up, you fucking arsehole, something like that. Yeah. And we all went, right, and Neil went, don't call us an arsehole, you know, like, just ask us to do it. You're just being a complete arse. And he was a complete dick. He went, fucking talk like that again, you're off the fucking talk like that. And we were just like, we're out of here, man. You know, like, you're just a dick, and we just left and got thrown off. But they're all Jackass like, no, don't throw them off. Like,
You know, these guys are cool, and this is going to be cool every night. And then we got thrown off for that. But we went down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, for real.
And in a weird way, it was one of my favourite shows. You know, it was really fun. And then we got a really nice letter sent to House on Name about us like talking about like anti-sexism and homophobia to that crowd, and that was nice. They were like, that was really cool that you still did that in front of not your crowd and whatever crowds. I've still got that letter, and it was cool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, hey, you're doing a punk documentary.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. How's it coming on? Because it had some trouble, right?
Yeah. So we it was going really well. And then Pledge Music went bankrupt, but they didn't really go bankrupt. From what I understand was they were sort of paying other people out of, what's that saying? Pay Peter to play Paul, whatever.
Yeah.
And they were taking money from other funds to pay for other things like that, and it caught up with them. And so they ended up taking like a couple of million from various artists around the world for projects and stuff. And they took the rest of our funding. Right. So we didn't get the end of funding. So, and everyone was really cool and like, we can help out, you know, we can do this DIY and stuff. And, but you can't really, you know, you can't, you have to travel to places to interview people, you know, there's all sorts of stuff. And then COVID happened, and then we started looking at the footage, and actually it's a bit old now.
Right.
So we're going to, I think, at some point, maybe look for other funding for it and really do it properly, you know, and kind of like independently without using a company like that for obvious reasons, and still get it done. So we've got loads of footage we can still use.
Who have you interviewed so far?
Loads of people, like Dan Allen from Ducking Punches, Lou from Captain Everything, Adequate 7, Lightyear, who else? Didn't manage to get Cap Down, Five Knuckle, members of Five Knuckle, just everyone really. Yeah. And some of it's great, but you know, like some of it you're just like, oh, that audio is not great. So like Adequate 7's audio was at Slam Dunk, very kindly let us go and interview them there, and the audio wasn't quite right, you know. So it's almost like we have demo interviews. Yeah. But we've got to put it all together. So with this app going on, you know, after this app, I want to do that. That's the next thing. And also the narrative of it has changed because it's been going for so long, and it was almost like a sort of biography combined with a documentary. That's what I was trying to do it and tell a story as well, and have like a protagonist in it. But we're not so sure about that now. We probably still will do that, and it'll be good. It's just I'm not going to say we're doing it until we can do it properly. You know, I don't want it to be a side project. I want it to be like really, really well done, because I think that time is worth representing, and I just really want it to be inspiring, you know, for like other people, no matter who you are or what you do. I guess capture what we're talking about, that empowerment of what the music and the scene and everything did for me and for us, and how we take those lessons on and carry on into normal life, you know, and how people are very successful in their careers because of that, but they take that you know those ethics with them still, but also successful in ways of doing community things and being kind and looking after people and things like that, as opposed to just having no direction, you know, which is, you know, is very easy to have in life.
So this song, I guess, is new, and I've just been calling it RoboCop, so I guess RoboCop until I get another name. But yeah, this one's RoboCop. Ooh. As my son breathes in that mold, may my landlord breathe in and not breathe out till his body grows cold. It's like two surfboards hanging on the wall in the Midlands, It's like watching RoboCop when you're 9. My mother's boyfriend said I'll be fine. He said, you have 15 seconds to comply. You have 9 seconds to comply. I wish these spreadsheets were bed sheets. That Gantt chart shows exactly where I will fall apart. You know that my outlook's not that positive anymore. St. Peter's Street, you know the drill. If the spice doesn't get you, the loneliness will. And I swear I saw Jesus in some sick on the floor. And I swear I saw Buddha. He's the doorman on the Blue Note door. And I know that I saw Tom. He's back on the Browns then. I heard he found God, but God misplaced him again. It's like watching a nightmare on Elm Street when you're 10. My mother's boyfriend said I'll never sleep again. I never ever slept again. I never ever slept again. I wish these spreadsheets were bed sheets. That Gantt chart shows exactly where I will fall apart. You know that my outlook's not that positive anymore. St. Peter's Street, you know the drill. If the spice doesn't get you, the loneliness will. And it's called a boardroom for a reason. Popeye KPIs and Acme acumen. So give me that sweet AI. At least we can teach them to cry. The humans are robots, the robots are humans. The humans are robots, the robots are humans. The humans are robots, the robots are humans. Yeah, that's it. Cheers. Yeah, that's what normally happens, so yeah.
That was awesome.
Cool, man.
Loved
Cool,
it.
cool,
Thank
cool.
you. Really appreciate that.
That's cool, man.
Great. Wow, so that was CHAS. Thank you so much to him. Thank you again to the New Cross Inn. Thank you so much to The Floor. And thank you very much to your good selves for watching. And we'll see you soon. Cheers.